Hey, this is Marcus Helton from DMVElite.com. Welcome to DMV Elite Live here on DMVSTREAM.com. We're going to be talking a little high school basketball today, going back and forth on a couple of things. My partner, Eric Larson, is not in the studio today, but he's on the phone with me. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Eric, you there? Eric, you there?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Like I said, we just wanted to talk some high school basketball. Wanted to start with you. Wanted you kind of recap some of the stuff that we had done this week. What's the game you were at most recently?
Most recent game I went to was the Crossland Central game a few weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Last week I was on hiatus, but that was the most recent game I was at.
Right. Well, I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple players from there. Calvin Levitt is a guy from Central. Kind of under the radar in Prince George's County. I mean, outside of Prince George's County. A lot of people in the county know about him. Can you talk about him and his game a little bit?
Yeah, that was a really exciting player. He's a decent ball handler, really good shooter, though. When you watched him, you saw him be able to create off the dribble, off the catch, falling away, getting into the paint, throwing up a few little floaters. He only had about 12 points in the game I saw, but I mean, he was 4 for 5 or 4 for 6 from 3. So he can be a volume scorer, shooter type of player. Only 5'9", so that kind of limits his where exactly he can play on the college level. I'm really thinking that Division II is where he'll
Right.
probably end up. Does some things at a Division I level, but when you look at his height, it's really difficult for him to fit in on a Division I team.
Got you. And there was another kid in that game who caught your eye as well, right? A kid from Crossland?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's one of those things where you go to a game and, you're watching it to watch, somebody from one team, and then somebody from another team just kind of blows you away. And that was Eric Landis. He's a shooting guard off of Crossland. I was really just impressed with the game. He does a little bit of everything, really has a game. He's only a sophomore, and his game, you watch him play, and you can tell it's going to translate to the next level.
Right.
And I'm definitely looking at low to mid Division I. You can see him. I mean, you can see stuff he does could work at, George Mason or George Washington. He's got a good height at 6'2" and decent build already. Even though he's only a sophomore, he can shoot the three, handle it very well. He can do a lot of things with the ball. He can get to the basket, finish with contact, and he can defend. So that was in their rebound. So I was really impressed with that.
Right. Now I know, prior to that, you'd also seen Oakland Mills up in Howard County. They're undefeated. They're a team we hadn't gotten to see until you went up there to see them play Glenelg. What were your thoughts on Oakland Mills and their chances at making a run in the state tournament this year?
I was very impressed with Oakland Mills. They have a little bit of everything. Ron Long is kind of Mr. Do-It-All. He can handle the ball. He's 6'6". He's solid. He's got to be about 220, 230 pounds.
Right.
He finishes everything in the paint. He can shoot a little bit from the outside. They have a lot of other pieces as well. They have shot blockers. They have ball handlers, guys who can really apply pressure. And it was one of those teams when you watch it, it's like, wow, this team can really has a shot. And I think they're 2A. So that was within that that category. I think they should be one of the favorites in their region.
Right. Okay. And we've got video and recaps from that game. So if you go on DMVElite.com right now, you can find video and Eric's player breakdowns on Oakland Mills and Glenelg, and also on Central and Crossland on our site. We also have videos up from Bullis and St. Albans. That's the game I was at last night. We have Potomac, Maryland versus Douglas from last week. We have Vo from Philadelphia with Rashid Jordan. They came down and played Mount St. Joe's at the MLK Hoop Fest at Coolidge last week. I was there. Saw Rashid Jordan put on a tremendous performance, put up 38 points. He's going to be a special player. Jay Wright was in the house to watch him from Villanova. Eleanor Roosevelt and Bowie Girls, we have video of that. Theodore Roosevelt, Coolidge, and plenty more. Just check out DMVElite.com. We also have some player news that came up recently with Murray's Marlon Beck committed to Binghamton. Congratulations to him. We also have a profile of C.J. Hill from Westfield up on the site. So DMVElite.com, check that out. Now, Eric, transitioning, one of the things we wanted to talk about was, the WCAC. Obviously, Bishop O'Connell has kind of become the front runner of that right now, but they've got a little situation going on with Junior 2. On the report, for those who don't know, the report came out on Deadspin last week, referencing some FIBA documents that said that he's 20 years old and not 18. But O'Connell says the paperwork's in order, so they're standing behind him. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, if that could turn the WCAC on its head if something comes up and he's ineligible, because he's really, really helped boost them into that top spot right now. Gonzaga right behind them, Paul VI right behind him. DeMatha struggled a little bit in some games, but they're DeMatha and they'll be there. Eric, just want to get your take on it. What do you think about this whole WCAC race?
Well, we knew from the beginning that this was going to be an amazing year in the WCAC. You had some big time, defections, if you will, with Nate Britt leaving and from the young man from St. John's, Leonard Freeman.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Stanford Robinson, Paul VI, going to get a little bit more exposure at those national traveling schools.
Right.
But it didn't seem to really matter. I mean, you saw what Paul VI did in the tournament in Missouri, and O'Connell's traveled very well, and DeMatha's traveled very well, and Gonzaga's actually done amazingly well as well.
Right.
They had to turn in West Virginia. So it shows just the depth of the WCAC, B, just the complete talent of the WCAC and in our area. And I'm just honestly can't wait until the tournament.
Right. No, definitely. I mean, from top to bottom, it's already established itself as one of the best leagues in the country. And it's done that again this year, even though, like you said, it's lost some top players and there seems to be a little bit more parity, but that might be because of the fact that everybody is so talented, like you said. I mean, even the teams that haven't perennially been tough, Bishop Ireton has played well. They can play people tough.
Very well. They played very well. They had a really good season. I think they have a couple upsets in there.
Right. St. John's is tough. I mean, they've been friendly tough in the past. It's their first year under their new coach, Sean McAloon, and he's kind of helped them bounce back from, losing Leonard Freeman, like you said, to Oak Hill. That was a big departure for them. But they're really guard heavy, but they've made it work.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. So they'll play 5 guards. They really play about 7 or 8 guys, and they play hard. They play fast and very physical. Very fun team to watch.
Right. And I have people ask me all the time, who do you think is going to be in that championship game? And you never know. I mean, it could.
If you want to throw it out there, I'm going to have to go with. I don't know. I mean, if the Final Four breaks down the way the standings break down, it's still a toss-up to who's going to get to that Final Four with Paul VI, Gonzaga, DeMatha, and O'Connell all right there at the top.
Right. Yeah, I had, coming into the season, Paul VI and Gonzaga were my top 2 favorites. They're still in the mix, and O'Connell's really jumped up there, and they've been impressive the couple times that I've seen them. Like I said before, we'll see what shakes out with the whole Junior 2 situation. But just assuming that he continues to play and everything is okay, I mean, they're going to be there in the end too.
Yeah, I definitely see them. And that was the thing. We were wondering how they would do, their team would blend together, and they seem to have figured it all out. And with Junior on that team, they seem to have to go into it as the favorite.
Right. I agree. And, Gonzaga has been right there. I mean, they beat Paula 6 without Chris Jenkins. And, they've been strong all season long. One of the questions coming in, getting back to earlier again, was how they would, stand the loss of Nate Britt. But I think, some guys like Tavon Blackman and Charles Glover have really stepped up. They're really deep, and they got a lot of experience last year playing without Nate when he was out hurt. So, that's really, really helped them.
Yeah, and Chris Jenkins is really just showing that he's a perennial player of the year guy. He can put it on his shoulders, and he's a winner. And that's what he continues to show.
Right. Then Paul the Sixth, like I said, they were my other favorite coming in this season, just because I know they lost a lot of pieces, but they brought back a lot of guys who did play last year. They're young, and there's no questioning the talent that's on that team, even if it is young talent. And you can see from the season they've had.
No question about that. It's amazing. They'll play, I think about 3 freshmen, a junior, and three sophomores, a junior, and a freshman.
Right.
And that might be their best lineup.
Right.
They're young and they're talented and they're just really, really good.
Right. And you can see that youth sometimes in the way that they've been up and down a little bit. Like they've beaten Oak Hill, they've beaten Montverde, and they lost to Gonzaga. Even though Gonzaga's strong, they lost to them without Chris Jenkins. It's just that's going to happen earlier in the season, but they're going to be there in the end too.
And I think that has a lot to do with scouting and whatnot with teams locally. They know each other so well. These kids know each other so well. They're so competitive against each other.
Right.
And, for Gonzaga to beat Paul the Six, or for DeMatha to beat, somebody on a given night, or maybe McNamara to beat DeMatha, it's not out of the realm of possibility. These guys know how to compete against each other.
Right. And so even with DeMatha, they're not having the season that they're known for having. It's kind of a rebuilding year with all the young guys that they have. Obviously, BJ Anya and Jarius Lyles are back. They're kind of the leaders. But, I mean, you can't count them out by any means either, because, they've shown that they can play on that level and they can play in big games.
I expect them to be in at the end as well. I mean, that's fine. That, like I said, WCAC tournament is going to be, I'm glad I have my media pass, so I'm going to be right up front and stand there watching that.
Right. Well, going around the area, outside of WCAC, like I said, this area is known for its big-time players. Josh Hart at Sidwell Friends has been one of the biggest. He's had a good season. What are your thoughts on him and, his prospects for next year at Villanova?
Josh is honestly, to me, has been a guy who's always proven his doubters wrong. I don't think, even myself in a lot of ways, I looked at Josh as, when he committed to Villanova, or he was being recruited by schools of that level, I was like, athletically, it may be a stretch, but, he's a tough kid, he'll get it done, but every time I see him, he's gotten better, and he's a winner. He's one of those kids who's really a winner, who doesn't mind putting the team on his shoulders and having the ability to carry them.
Right.
And, whether it's, improving on his shooting, improving on his shooting selection, ball handling, ability to, stop and pull up and hit the shot. And he's gotten better. I guess most recently I saw him at the DMVElite holiday class. And before that, I saw him at the takeover event in July. And he improved so much from July to December. I was just amazed by it.
Right. No, he's definitely taken it to another level. Part of that, I mean, I talked to him. I asked him if, being committed and signed, if that took a little weight off his shoulders, and he admitted that, yeah, it did. And sometimes it's amazing to see the difference something as simple as that can make. When a guy doesn't have to worry about, oh, man, if I mess up, these coaches aren't going to call me anymore. Or if this happens, it'll affect my recruitment. When a guy can just go out there and play, it's amazing, the difference it can make for a kid.
Oh, I agree with you 100% on that, Mark. It's all about, that it's not that these kids can't play under pressure because they prove they can play under pressure. But really, when they have that commit and they really have a clear mind about what their purpose on the floor is, and that's always it's good to see when they do commit and things really start opening up for them.
Right, right. And speaking of recent commits, like I said, we had 2 here within the past couple of days. Marlon Beck, whose team is atop the MAC, he committed to Binghamton in New York, going Division I. I think that's a good fit for him, good pickup for them. It's going to help them kind of get back on the right track after some controversy they had. Made the NCAA tournament a couple years ago, and are now in rebuilding mode, but he'll help them out. And also Nnamdi Nnechionia from St. James committed last night, actually, to Samford. And it seems like a good fit for Nnamdi. I know we've seen him a couple times. What do you think of Nnamdi and his fit there?
Well, we've seen him over a half dozen times.
Right.
Nnamdi is another guy, when you see him, he improves every time. Yeah, it seems to add something to his game every time, whether it's a little bit more, he plays with a little more strength. His ball handling has improved steadily. I honestly will say I think Samford got a steal,
right,
because Nnamdi's development and potential. Samford, who you would consider a low major, he's really at Samford. He could really develop into an all-league type of player. He has the athleticism. He has the shooting ability, and he defensively he can do so many things with his length. So I think it's Samford is happy. I think Nnamdi is going to be happy because they're going to take the time to develop him, and that's very important.
Right, definitely. Well, going around the area, I mean, like I mentioned, there's a lot of players who are playing well. A lot of high-profile guys. Josh Hart, one of them. One of the new additions to the DMV has been Akil Carr at Princeton Day. I've had a chance to see him. Man, I can't even count the number of times this season already. It's been a ton. They're playing Vo from Philly today with Rashid Jordan. That's going to be an excellent matchup. Wish I was there to see that one. But what are your thoughts on how his game has kind of progressed?
Akil, one thing we have to say is Akil is a show. So, that's part of the territory with Akil, on the high school level, I think. But when you see Akil really settle down and play basketball, it's more than the crossover, it's more than the crazy shots. It's really, the kid can really play basketball when he's focused on doing so. And his game should translate to the college level, the high major Division I level. He has, explosion off the dribble. He can get places. He can defend. He can really pick pockets. He can do a lot of things. I mean, his height is always going to be a liability, but he has always been able to, find ways to make that not a problem.
Right.
If somebody tried to, really sit on him in the post, he's going to find a way to do something different.
No, I agree. Yeah, definitely. He's a kid who's, he's a polarizing kid. Either you love his game or you hate it. But I think that, I like him. And I know one of the big questions people always ask with him is, do you think his game will translate to the next level? Can he do that? And the mixtape stuff probably won't translate to the next level, and he won't be able to get away with doing that much stuff. But he can play basketball, and I think that he'll be able to run a team. And I think that he'll be able to contribute. And no, he probably won't score 30 every night at a Division I level. But he'll be able to set guys up. He'll be able to get points when he needs to. And I think defense is one of the more underrated parts of his game. He can play defense. Maybe sometimes he doesn't because he's spending all his energy trying to put on a show and score 30. But he can harass opposing guards. He's really, really quick. I've seen him, just bother other people's point guards. I think it's not going to be as big of a transition as some people are making.
It really comes down to him, accepting coaching,
right?
Accepting not putting on a show. He will have his opportunities to do a few things here and there throughout the pace of the game, but he's going to have to focus on not turning the ball over, finding teammates, getting quality shots, high percentage shots. And he does those things, he'll still, he will be a star. He could be a star. He will fill up the, the arena up at Seton Hall.
Right.
He definitely has a bright future, but it all comes down that he has to accept the coaching and has to, really focus on being a productive player.
Right. Yeah. Well, that Princeton Day team he plays on now is kind of loaded with talent. Another one of their guys who I wanted to touch on real quick, Anton Waters. He's a guy who's unsigned right now, but, he's a highlight in himself, can jump out the gym. He's strong. And it's not just that he can jump. He's got a couple post moves I've seen. He's got a nice little, he can face up, knock down a little short jumper. You've seen Anton for the last couple of years. What do you think about his growth and where he is now?
Yeah, Antoine really, he's developed this year. Was his best year of development. I saw him first as a sophomore, and and I saw him again as a junior a couple times. And I really thought from a sophomore to junior, he didn't really get better. Maybe even took a step back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But from his junior year to now, even from summer till now, he's really improved. Really shown he understands how to use his body physically, and that's important as a post player, inside type of player. You have to understand how to do, how to sit on the post up, defend the post, and things like that. And he's really shown the ability to understand that. And I think a major thing for him was really settling on the fact that I'm a big man, even though I'm only 6'5", 6'6", but the post is my position, and when he accepts that, he's a really good basketball player.
Right. And right now his interest, he's getting, like NEC, Northeast Conference level interest, Quinnipiac and some schools like that. And I think, somewhere along those lines, that conference would be a good fit for him.
I would agree with you. I think that there's maybe a few opportunities in schools with a little more higher profile, but if you don't want to get too greedy when you're only about 6'5",
right.
A post player. So it's like you want to go somewhere where you're going to play and have the opportunity to develop. And I think that, like you're right, like NEC, the MAAC, something like along those lines, I think would be really the top type of schools that would really work for him.
Right. They've got a couple guys on that team. Like I said, Emmanuel Amagbo is going to Robert Morris. He's improved his game. They picked up Jerron Martin midseason from Bishop McNamara. I don't know if you've had a chance to see him yet, but he's a guy who's getting some interest. Right. Well, he's a guy who's getting some interest too. He can shoot. That'll always get you some looks when you can shoot the ball. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what kind of interest he picks up, playing with them.
Definitely, Jerron's a good basketball player. But I tell you what, that Emmanuel Amagbo he's really the cog of that Princeton Day team that gets everything going. Even though he's kind of a power forward with that lineup, he defends, blocks shot, score in the post, can score facing up. I think he's got. Robert Morris really has a player who they can look to as well as being an all-league type of guy.
Right.
And maybe not even in 3 or 4 years, but maybe in 2 years as a sophomore. His game really translates highly to Robert Morris. I've actually seen them live a couple times, and he's perfect for what they do. And I think he's the type of player who's defensive minded and it can really make a difference for talent like Robert Morris.
Right. And definitely, you said they got in on him at the perfect time because, if he was there for another year, he probably might have picked up some looks from bigger schools. But he's a guy who's really raw, and you can see that sometimes he still is, but he's a high energy guy. And, those try-hard guys, you could always use those. And he's a high energy guy with athleticism, and that, that combination is always perfect.
Oh, definitely.
Right. Okay. Well, wanted to touch on the schedule this upcoming week. We haven't finalized ours for where exactly we're going to be, but just to give you some ideas on where some of the top games in the area are going to be. Tomorrow is going to be filled with all the postponed games from Friday where everything got snowed out. Flowers at Parkdale is one of the big ones. Eleanor Roosevelt at Duval is probably the biggest one. Big PG County 4A game. National Christian is at Chavez. Sherwood is at Springbrook. And in Virginia, West Potomac is at W.T. Woodson. Eric, what do you think about that Roosevelt-Duval game?
I'm upset that I have to miss it, I'll tell you that much. I actually covered a middle school playoff game, but you look at those two teams and the level of talent on those teams and the quality, the way they play very under control, very focused on what they have to do. There's not a lot of goofing off with those teams.
Right.
I'm excited to watch teams like that because you look at those teams and you say, man, both of those teams could compete at, possibly a WCAC level. They may not be on the top end of the WCAC, but they would be competitive within that conference. I think they would. Both of those teams, and the fact that they're both in PG 4A means we get to see them at least twice a year, probably
right.
beyond that within the playoffs. So that's going to be a great game. There's lots of talent. Marcus, if you can help me with some of the names on those teams, I can maybe give them
we've got Mike Cunningham, Tawan Kinley, Trevor Evans.
Yeah, Michael Cunningham, he's a guy who was at Paul 6 and transferred there and really has shown his ability as a ball handler, as a creator, as a shooter, defender. Michael Cunningham was really under the radar, and he's going to get a low to mid Division I scholarship. There's no question about that.
Right.
Howling Kinley, just an unbelievable athlete. He plays small forward position for them, can shoot it, can score, plays defense, rebounds. I understand he's going to be a junior college candidate. I really look for him to go to somebody within the top 10 to 25 in the nation in junior college. He's that type of player who can play on that level and should play on a team that's really, really highly competitive.
Right. Now, I was at that first game, the one at Roosevelt, that Roosevelt won on a buzzer beater by Trevor Evans at the end. So I'm sure it'll be another exciting one.
Yeah, and I want to say something about Trevor Evans. He's a really good shooter. I understand that Trevor's focus is academics, and so for the Division III schools, I hope that you are talking to him. He's the type of kid who will be able to score on that level.
Right, definitely. But Tuesday, Potomac School at Sidwell was one of the games. Paul VI at Gonzaga is probably the biggest one of the night. St. John's is at Ireton, another good WCAC matchup. Good Counsel at McNamara. Hayfield at Wakefield. Crossland and Largo is going to be a good one. Wednesday, Montrose Christian's playing Oak Hill out in West Virginia at a tournament out there. Princeton Day and National Christian are playing again. They've already met twice, so those two teams are definitely familiar with each other. And Chantilly is at Westfield. And that's kind of the top games for that night. Thursday is a light night. Flint Hill at St. Andrews is one game. And another game I wanted to touch on that's probably not on people's radar, but Washington Math and Science, which is a charter school, is playing National Collegiate. And National Collegiate, for those who don't know, it's a second-year charter school here in Southeast D.C., and they've got a kid, Bobby Mayo, who just committed to play Division III ball at Bridgewater College down in Virginia, an area I'm familiar with. And he's a good story because he's a kid, grew up in a rough part of town. He hasn't played basketball all that long. He's only played organized basketball for 2 years. And he's 6'6", and he's another kid who, if he'd been, around for a long time and people had seen him, might have gotten a little bit higher level of interest. But it's good for him to go down there to Bridgewater. I'm sure he'll get a nice academic package to go down there. It's good for him and his family. And it's just a great story overall. So if you get a chance to check him out, please do. Friday, O'Connell is at Paul VI. Chantilly's at Herndon. Gwynn Park, Potomac. Hayfield, Edison. Dunbar is at Theodore Roosevelt, who's looking like the best team in the public school league in D.C. Parkdale at Duval. Saturday, Princeton Day is at Coolidge. Potomac School's at Flint Hill. And Sunday, Gonzaga's at DeMatha. And Paul VI is at St. John's. Two nice WCAC matchups to close the week. Next week, we'll have, a look at some of the top unsigned seniors here in the area, some under the radar guys that coaches and schools need to be looking at. Eric, you got anything else?
I look forward to next week. This has been fun, and I think I'm gonna try to catch that Crossland Largo game on Tuesday. I know that for sure. I'll see you about Friday, but I think that'll be a decent matchup.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, man, and thanks to all you for joining us. This is Marcus Helton from DMVElite.com. Thank you for DMV Stream giving us the opportunity to host this show, and we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks.